सवैया दुत जिते इन्हीं के प्रसाद सुदान करे अक अवगटारे इन्हीं के प्रसाद इन्हीं की कृपा पुण्य धाम भरे इन्हीं के प्रसाद सो विद्यालय इन्हीं की कृपा सब संत मरे नहीं की कृपा के सजे हम हैं नहीं पोसो गरीब करोड़ मरे।
Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh, and welcome to another episode of the Sikh Renaissance. So, once again, after the McAuliffe episode, we are reverting to English. We did piss off a lot of Sanatan Vedic Hindus, and when our team actually approached Puneet Sahani, he blocked and ran away, just like as a Christian god. There is a story associated with Christian that he ran away from the battlefield like a coward, and this is why Sanatan Vedic Hindus worship him as Ranchod. Now, everyone knows what Ranchod really rhymes with in Punjabi, so jokes aside, at the end of the day, these people can only gang up on you, but when you start confronting them and using the same tactics as them, they run away. Because when Muslims, Sanatan Vedic Hindus, Christians, and the whole gamut of atheists and non Sikhs try exposing our faith, they are relying on lies. However, if we take their tactics of shouting down Sikhs, and we start shouting them down and ganging up on them, the difference is that we are using the truth to expose them, the truth of their false religions, and this is why they run away. Now, continuing on from there, a lot of these Sanatan Vedic Hindu terrorists are always saying that Baba Banda Singh Bahadur was a Veer Banda Bairagi, a Sanatan Vedic Hindu. Well, if you look at the history of Hindus, they themselves publish books called A History of Hindus, A Saga of Defeat. So, if you look at Baba Banda Singh Bahadur, before his martyrdom, he was pretty much undefeated. Now, if he was a Sanatan Vedic Hindu, A, he would have surrendered. B, if he was a Sanatan Vedic Hindu Rajput, for the sake of argument, he would have tried marrying his wife off to the Muslims just to keep them at bay. Or C, at the end of the day, he would have not been able to achieve what he did. So, Baba Banda Singh Bahadur was a Sikh, a Khalsa, and this is proven by the eyewitness accounts which detail his martyrdom, that he was stripped of his kakars and he was also killed, and he used to call himself a Sikh. So, this is actually, mind you, written by eyewitnesses. Now, these attacks done by the likes of Sanatan Vedic Hindu terrorist Puneet Sahani and the like was what actually inspired us a few years ago when this podcast first started to invite Dr. Balwant Singh Tillo, who's the leading global authority on Baba Banda Singh Bahadur, and have him discuss Baba Banda Singh's life with us. That was the podcast episode which really became foundational for the Sikh Renaissance, because that is what actually started us off. That made us really popular. And after that, what happened was we released a few more episodes on the Bandai Khalsa and Baba Banda Singh, the most recent being 1724. However, a lot of listeners, you guys, had this issue that why aren't we doing these episodes in English? So today we are doing a redux sort of episode where we take both episodes and tie them together to give a detailed summary, a detailed analysis of Baba Banda Singh Bahadur's life, career, and actually prove he was not a useless Sanatan Vedic Hindu. Now, a majority of this work is not ours, it is Dr. Balwant Singh Tillo's. So, starting off from what Dr. Balwant Singh Tillo told us, and that episode is actually available on the YouTube site as well, so you can listen to it, and we will make sure to link the previous 2 to 3 episodes on Baba Banda Singh down in the description of this particular episode. So, to start it off, what was Baba Banda Singh Bahadur's past? So, according to Dr. Tillo's researches, Baba Banda Singh was actually in Punjab, in Ramthaman, around the time Guru Gobind Singh Ji was warring with the Hill Rajas and Aurangzeb. So, to actually provide a brief overview, according to Bhai Veer Singh, Baba Banda Singh Bahadur was, initially when we say that he was Madho Das, because Bhai Ratan Singh Pangu calls him Narayan Das. Well, previously, like before he became a Sikh, The classic hagiography story, the Saki runs that he killed a female deer and then her children came out of her womb and died in front of him, and he renounced hunting and ran off and became an ascetic. Now, the issue with this, according to Dr. Tillo, was that this Saki can be traced to the late 19th, early 20th century. So prior to that, there was no such Saki in, in any circulation among the Sikhs. If it was minimal and it wasn't so commercialized. And at the end of the day, a majority of the Sikhs never believed in the Saki. So what the real reality is, no one really knows. But we do have a contemporary eyewitness account of Tadi Nathmal. So Tadi Nathmal, by calculation, would have been around 80 or 90 years old during the time of Guru Gobind Singh Ji. Now, what Tadi Nathmal writes about Baba Banda Singh, initially as Madhodas, matches quite well with other eyewitness accounts of Guru Gobind Singh Ji's last days in Hazur Sahib at Nanded, as well as with what the Mughal court chroniclers at that time wrote. So Tadi Nathmal actually provides us this insight in his Amarnama that at the end of the day, the Amarnama is quite significant, and many Sanatan Vedic Hindus do not like it because, firstly, they like to lie, like their Vedas and Gitas and Upanishads teach them. Secondly, above all, it has these lines from Guru Gobind Singh Ji saying, "Do not trust non Sikh Brahmins because my sons died because of Brahmins, because they couldn't control their greed. They've actually sold out the entire Indian subcontinent to the Muslims just for their own gain." So, because of these lines, obviously the pre-colonial, Sanatan Sikh Brigade, which is a bit of oxymoron if any, dismissed the Amarnama and others among them. But it is accepted as a bona fide piece of history in Sikh studies. Now, obviously, because of the anti-Hindu bias of the author, the current Sanatan Vedic Hindu academia tries giving it this tint as some colonial document, but it is actually pre-colonial. So, according to Tadi Nathmal, Guru Gobind Singh Ji heard about Banda Singh, as Madhodas, and the reports always were that there is this belligerent sadhu, this belligerent, ascetic type individual, a hermit in the forests of Nanded, and he needs to be sorted out. Now, Tadi Nathmal basically implies that at the end of the day, it seems that Guru Gobind Singh Ji did knew about this sadhu's past, and he decided to send Tadi Nathmal with the instruction to tell the sadhu to pull his head in and come and meet the Guru, or otherwise, if the Guru came to him, he would regret it. So, what happened was that Tadi Nathmal says that he went down there, but the sadhu was very arrogant, very belligerent, very egoistical. However, he writes that when he came back, he told Guru Gobind Singh Ji that this sadhu does his Path Puja in the same way as Guru Nanak gave to his Sikhs. So he does have some sort of a Sikh affiliation, a Sikh association. Now, this raises a very intriguing question: that was Madhodas a Sikh? Right? This is quite a significant question. Now, obviously, a historian like Dr. Balwant Singh Tillo, he will not actually comment on this because, as he clarifies in his interviews with us, he's more interested in something with proven bona fide facts. They can be written or any other form. So, speculation at the end of the day is basically, you know, up to us as to what the reality is and what it isn't. Now, Professor Sukhdeal Singh has actually theorized or proposed, we can say, for want of a better word, that Banda Singh Bahadur was a general in the Mughal army and he led a Sikh regiment for the Mughals. The only problem with this speculatory proposal is that there is no real evidence that the Mughals ever had a Sikh regiment, that there was a Sikh battalion or company in the Mughal army. He seems to have based his assumptions on Hariram Gupta's theory that Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji and Guru Harai Ji actually had Sikh regiments in the Mughal army. But once again, there is no evidence of this, and even Gupta was known to fabricate quite a lot of his evidence when it came to, passing off his assertions as facts. And this is not only in his study of Sikh history, it's in a study of other histories as well. So, this is the reality that we confront when dealing with Banda Singh Bahadur's past. So obviously there is this issue as to what Madhav Das's past was, but if we expand from Tadi Nathmal, then either he was a non-Amritari, non-Khalsa Sikh, or either he was someone associated with the house of Guru Nanak, someone who had maybe a distant relationship, or maybe he was someone who was going to convert to Sikhi. Whatever the issue, Tadi Nathmal underscores that in his pre-Banda Singh days, Madho Das actually had some sort of affiliation with Sikhi. What Dr. Balwant Singh Tillo found after a while was that the story of this man being a sadhu seems quite overblown. The story seems to have originated with Pai Ratan Singh Pangu and Ahmad Shah Batalvia and all these authors, but at the most, it commenced maybe 50 to 60 years after Banda Singh's demise. That there was this sadhu over there and he was actually 100% a sadhu. Now, how this differentiates from Tadi Nathmal is that Tadi Nathmal actually points out that this individual, by implication, Madho Das, was enacting the role of a sadhu, but he wasn't actually a sadhu. So, Dr. Balwant Singh Tillo's conclusion on this matter, as he tells us in that episode, is that Banda Singh Bahadur was actually a mercenary. Now, these mercenaries were also known as Nihangs. So, the term for mercenary on the subcontinent at the time was Nihang. So the Sikhs took this term and made it their own because when the Mughals tried, the Muslims and the Sanatan Vedic Hindus tried insulting their gurus that, hey, you got an army of Nihangs, meaning you got an army of mercenaries, you guys can't fight. Well, the gurus just turned around and said, yep, our Nihangs are of Akal Purakh, right? We are the mercenaries of Akal Purakh. So expanding on from there, this term Nihang was in vogue even among non-Sikhs. So Banda Singh seems to have been as Madho Das a Nihang. And some of these Nihangs used to go around, well, basically because they were basically, warriors for hire. They really had no loyalty to anyone. They had no code of ethics. Now, many of them used to go about prancing as sadhus just to fool the gullible people and get their money. But in reality, they weren't really sadhus. If we look at the Naga sadhus, all these other Shaivite traditions, etc., most of these sadhus had their rear ends, had their asses, actually, to be blunt, handed to them by the Mughals all the time. And they just ended up joining the Mughals at the end of the day. And today's Sanatan Vedic Hindus are, obviously rewriting their history to claim that these sadhus were something. They were pretty much nothing, just cow crap. Really, that was their achievement. So, was Madho Das an official mercenary of the state? It seems to be the case, given his familiarity with Mughal tactics. And we also have another celebrated author, Professor Manchanda, who does actually speculate that a lot of the primary evidence and then the secondary evidence we have available on Baba Banda Singh place him around Kashmir and Jammu. Because when he was around the Jammu and Kashmir areas, when there was a bit of a ceasefire between him and the Mughals, he was very familiar with it. So Manchanda traveled around Jammu and Kashmir and tracked down the fact that there were several villages there which had a Sikh population that were wiped out early in Aurangzeb's reign. So, could Baba Banda Singh have been a survivor and then he fell in with these mercenaries when he was young? No one really knows. We only have assumptions, but some of them can be quite educated guesses as to what was happening. Anyhow, he was well aware of Guru Gobind Singh Ji because, Madho Das, the mercenary commander, the Nihanga commander, he was present in Punjab when the Guru was battling with the Pahari Hill Rajas and the Muslims. So after that, Adi Nathmal writes that after, all this encounters and his meetings with this arrogant sadhu, Guru Gobind Singh Ji finally went to meet him. And it seems that the Guru defeated him in unarmed combat rather than the, fantastic tales we have of magical battles, etc. And after that, what happened was that, this Madho Das figure decided that he wanted to become a Sikh, a fully blown Khalsa, to be honest. Now, this is where a certain issue has arisen, and Dr. Balwant Singh Tillo did clarify it for us. So, this issue was basically articulated by Hariram Gupta, and according to Hariram Gupta, there is like I'm citing Gupta pretty much clearly from his this Sikh history of the Sikhs, the Sikh Gurus, 1469 to 1708, volume 1. So this is actually what Gupta says about Banda Singh Bahadur being a Sikh. So Banda became a disciple of the Guru, but the Guru did not baptize him according to his new ceremony of administering pohol. It seems to us that the Guru did so deliberately for certain reasons. 1. Banda was already known as Guru in Maharashtra and he commanded a large following. The Guru did not want to enhance Banda's prestige as a religious leader among the Sikhs. Now, Dr. Balwant Singh Tillo points out that Dr. Ganda Singh did challenge Hariram Gupta on this point and asked him to prove where exactly in Maharashtra do you find a Guru named Madho Das, or even if you take Ratan Singh Pangu's work, Narayan Das. So, Gupta was unable to provide any evidence of these two figures, these two gurus existing at the time in Maharashtra. Then he was overactive and overenergetic, and the guru wanted to keep him in check by not making him a regular Khalsa. Now, this argument is basically neither here neither there because at the end of the day, it doesn't make sense. According to the Retnamas we have, the Puratan Retnamas, the guru always invited the overactive and the overenergetic Sikhs to become Khalsas, so and other individuals who the guru knew could make good Khalsas, they were also invited in the same way because they were overactive and overenergetic. Number 3, by making him a regular Sikh, the Guru feared lest he might claim Guruship in course of time. Without baptism, the Khalsa would not accept him as the Guru. Here's the point. How many other individuals, such as Nawab Kapoor Singh, etc., we have all these other events in history where Amritaris have actually, gone back on their word. They have corrupted their own selves and tried claiming themselves as Guru. The Khalsa never accepted them as Guru. The Khalsa knew that the Guru was the Granth and the Panth. So, once again, to say that without baptism the Khalsa would not accept him as the Guru is saying that, well, with baptism the Khalsa would have accepted an individual as an 11th Guru, as the 11th Guru, but this never happened. So, this again is just another stupid Sanatan Vedic Hindu argument made by, Hariram Gupta. Okay, so going on, there is other proof in support of this argument. Had he been baptized, he would not have changed the Guru's salutation of Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh to Fateh Darshan. Now, Dr. Balwant Singh Tillo, based on his analysis and study of, the Hukamnamas of post-Guru era Sikh figures, points out that not all of them used Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh, and the Fateh Darshan was actually a code word. It was only after Baba Banda Singh Bahadur's Shahidi that the Mughals realized that Fateh Darshan was his code because they made multiple, their intelligence agencies, their spies, their espionage agents, they fabricated multiple hukamnamas with Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh written in Banda Singh's name, and this was to mislead the Sikhs. But Banda Singh Bahadur chose Fateh Darshan as his own seal, so whenever anyone read Fateh Darshan on a parchment, they would know straight away that this is the man himself talking. This is authentic. So, in case of his being a regular Sikh, so moving on, a schism could not have taken place among his followers into Tat Khalsa and Bandai Sikhs. So, this again is very problematic because if you see the Missile era period, there was a massive schism between all Missiles based on who was the supreme Jathedar of the Panth, and all of them were Khalsas. So, once again, this is just Gupta, it seems, talking out of his rear end. There are no contemporary or near contemporary sources to establish the fact that Banda had been baptized. All sources quoted in support of this assertion are 100 years or more later. Not really. Dadi Nathmal is writing at the time, right? He's writing at the same time. Then we have all these Mughal sources ranging from the period of Baba Banda Singh's, military campaigns to his death. The latest we have would be maybe 12 years after the event. All of them testify to his being a Sikh. The Sikh tradition holds that he was a Sikh. Gyani Gyan Singh, who obviously, to give Gupta this much credibility, came after Ratan Singh Pangu, so almost 200 years after Baba Banda Singh, he also writes that Banda Singh Bahadur was a Sikh, and he gained this information for a Shamsher Khalsa from the Lahore archives of, which had the letters of the Mughal writers and agents at the time who actually saw these, battles happening in front of their eyes. Right, number 4. The Guru baptized only such men as were most willing to become a Singh. Even Bhai Nandalal and Senapat, who had been so close to the Guru for many years, were not baptized. Well, once again, Bhai Nandalal and Senapat were never made commanders or generals among the Khalsa. So, this makes no sense. But according to Dr. Trilochan Singh, there is a Hukamnama of the Guru which basically says that Singh and Kaur are titles and that those Sikhs whose names are already permanent without the Singh and Kaur can continue employing those names as well. But Bhai Nandalal and Senapati are both of the mind that taking Amrit, becoming baptized, becoming Khalsa, is very necessary for a Sikh, because in Guru Gobind Singh Ji's eyes, a Sikh is synonymous with a Khalsa and vice versa. So once again, Gupta's own sources betray him. Gyan Singh is of the view that Banda was not an administered Pahol, and this is from the Pant Prakash. But once again, Gupta is doing a misreading here. Gyani Gyan Singh, Ratan Singh Pangu, Bhai Nandalal, they all clarify that for the Guru, the Khalsa is synonymous with Sikh, the Sikh is synonymous with the Khalsa. So, as far as the Guru is concerned, anyone who has taken Khande Ki Pahal and is a Khalsa is a Sikh. And this is what Gyani Gyan Singh also clarifies in his Pant Prakash. So, Gupta obviously ignores this and just goes down and starts doing something else. Mata Sundari would not have excommunicated him if he had been a baptized Sikh. Now, here's the problem. Where is the evidence? Ratan Singh Pangu obviously writes this, and this is what Sanatan Vedic Hindu terrorists try using against Sikhs. But where is the evidence of this Hukamnama? Before Ratan Singh Pangu, no one ever wrote of any such Hukamnama existing, even the Mughals. And there is no evidence that the Khalsa at the time received such an Hukamnama and turned against Banda Singh. So there you go. Number 7. Guru Gobind Singh had permitted any 5 baptized Khalsa to administer Pahal to new converts. Banda never administered Pahal to anyone. He simply recruited them in his army. Well, based on the Mughal sources, which say that many Muslims converted to Sikhi and took Pahal from Baba Banda Singh, Gupta is once again left out high and dry with his own evidence betraying him. So, this was one of the main attacks launched on Baba Banda Singh by Sanatan Vedic Hindus. Now, the reality is that this was not the first attack. It was the main attack, which was basically summarized in the words of Hariram Gupta, but it wasn't the most biggest attack, right? Or the first and foremost attack. So basically, as Dr. Balwant Singh Tillo tells us, that if you read Gyani Gyan Singh's works and other works as well, and this is what we have done, here are some patterns that start emerging. So, Baba Banda Singh Bahadur decided to invite the Rajputs to join him, form a coalition to fight against Aurangzeb. He had this plan that one day on the day of Holi, the Khalsa would raise massive havoc in Punjab, and if the Rajputs could do it in Kurukshetra and Hardwar, then at least they could catch the Mughals in a pincer movement. And Dr. Balwant Singh Tillo also went and found Rajasthani documents on Baba Banda Singh, contemporary documents, and they speak of this fact as well. Now, what happened was that the Rajputs started entertaining Baba Banda Singh Bahadur as a possible replacement for Aurangzeb. They would owe loyalty to him, and there was communication going on between them. This is actually mentioned in the book Rajasthani Documents on Baba Banda Singh. But what actually ended up happening was that the questions of Sanatan Vedic Hindu beliefs in the false system of caste and other such atrocious, inhumane systems that mentally and physically imprison humans, that became a sore point. Baba Banda Singh Bahadur was not willing to concede on his Khalsa beliefs. The Rajputs weren't willing to concede on their Sanatan Vedic Hindu beliefs. And what ended up happening was that these Rajputs eventually betrayed the Sikh messengers who were bringing them these communications from Baba Banda Singh. And those Sikhs were executed. So this was around the early days of Fruxir's reign, or just before him. So what happened afterwards was that Baba Banda Singh Bahadur realized that the Sanatan Vedic Hindus were not going to be helping him. So he decided to battle against everyone. A majority of the forces, according to the Mughal sources that came in the Punjab, were actually Sanatan Vedic Hindu forces, the Purbiya forces, and Rajput forces that united to kill Baba Banda Singh, because at the end of the day, they saw him as a danger to their Sanatan way of life, to the Vedas, to the lies of the Gita and the Upanishads. This is why they turned against him, that, hey, we need to kill this Sikh, this Singh, because he's really dangerous to us. Once he's done with the Muslims, he's going to come after us Hindus as well. He doesn't let Hindus join him unless they become Sikhs. So this was also one of the main grouses they had against Baba Banda Singh. So when we look at it from a historical point of view, Baba Banda Singh Bahadur had the, pristine Khalsa theocracy going. So William Irvine actually writes that when he, came to India and he started researching the history of the Sikhs, he went around consulting the Sanatan Vedic Hindus. They all disparaged Baba Banda Singh and spat whenever they said his name, because according to them, a Shudra, a low caste, subhuman individual, all they had to do was go and take Khande ki Pahul from Baba Banda Singh's hands. So go to Hel Gupta, become Sikhs, become Khalsa, become Shastrtari, and when they used to go back to their village, the Brahmins were forced to join their hands, bow before them, and actually ask them to negotiate for them, mediate between them, and become their leaders. Because the Sanatan Vedic Hindu Brahmins were not violent, but these low caste individuals were made righteously and justly violent by Baba Banda Singh to rule over the masses. So, this was one of the main grouses that the Sanatan Vedic Hindus had against him. And the Khatris of Delhi. So, we do have this episode in Senapati Shri Gursoba that Khatris in Delhi were against Baba Banda Singh Bahadur. So why they were against him was that he had basically, reinforced the distinctions made by Guru Gobind Singh Ji between Sikhs and non-Sikhs, which existed from the time of Guru Nanak, but Guru Gobind Singh Ji reasserted them. And they had tried actually kicking the Amritaris out from Delhi and getting them killed by the Mughals. So when Baba Banda Singh Bahadur was around, they realized that those same Sikh Khatris, the Khalsa Khatris, could now turn on the Sanatan Vedic Hindu Khatris and Muslim Khatris and avenge themselves. So they also played a prominent part that whenever any Khalsa Khatri in Delhi or around Delhi supported Baba Banda Singh financially or in any other way, they would just betray them and get them killed. This was their role. So to assert that Baba Banda Singh Bahadur was a Sanatan Vedic Hindu is a massive lie. So, as Gyani Gyan Singh also tells us in one of his versions of the Shamsher Khalsa, the Khatris of Delhi, the Sikh Khalsa Khatris, or the Sahajdari Khatris, even the Khulasa Khatris who had cut their hair but owed their loyalty to Sikhi, they tried raising money enough to bribe the gods to allow Baba Banda Singh Bahadur to escape and replace him with another Singh. But the Sanatan Vedic Hindu Khatris of Delhi hated Baba Banda Singh so much that they actually informed the Mughal soldiery who went and killed the Khalsa Khatris of Delhi prematurely. So this is a reality. Then the Sanatan Vedic Hindu Jats, the Muslims, all of them ganged up against Baba Banda Singh and the Sikhs and the Khalsa. So this was what was going on at the time. So, all this history was well recorded and remembered by Sikhs. It was only when Sanatan Vedic Hindu Parmanand around the 1920s started writing his fictional Veer Banda Bairagi. This was basically a novel. Basically, the issue with Sanatan Vedic Hindus is they take fiction to be, a reality just like their fictional gods they believe exist. This is how they take fiction to be reality. And this is exactly what Parmanand was actually counting on. So his issue was that when he saw that the Sikhs were resurgent and they were talking about liberating Punjab from the British and reasserting Khalsa Raj, Khalsa sovereignty, Sikh supremacy, he knew that the Sanatan Vedic Hindu caste system, which made him so prominent, which gave him his, unnecessary privileges, much like white privilege today, those privileges would be threatened once again. Historically, well, he claimed that historically his ancestors were Sikhs, but the reality is they weren't Sikhs at all. This was his false claim that, hey, just because I'm a high caste Hindu, those high caste Hindus who renounced the false faith of Sanatan Vedic Hinduism and became Sikhs and died for Sikhi, well, they are somehow my ancestors as well, just because the caste is the same. It's much like that Bollywood retard Amitabh Bachchan does that, hey, my mother was a Bedi. This means I'm, descended from Guru Nanak. So, what did Guru Nanak have 1,000 kids or something that every Bedi in the world today seems to be descended from Guru Nanak? And that's exactly what that retard Baba Vikramaditya Bedi or whatever that fat idiot's name is on Quora who does this as well nowadays. So, all this retardation has to be thought about logically to actually be able to debunk it. So Parmanand started writing this fictional novel slash pseudo history, and in this one he argued that the Sikhs were Sanatan Vedic Hindus, but they had forgotten their identity They had joined the Muslims in persecuting the Sanatan Vedic Hindus when their empire was in the ascendant. And basically, Parmanand's chip on his shoulder was that why were the Sikhs ruling? Why didn't they just give it over to the Brahmins? And this is what he implies in Veer Banda Bairagi, that the main mission of Banda Singh or Banda Bairagi was basically to just make the Brahmins the kings of Punjab. So this was basically his caste supremacy coming out because he was a Sanatan Vedic Hindu terrorist. But the issue, though, was that the book misquoted Karam Singh historian. So Karam Singh historian had found Persian sources on Baba Banda Singh Bahadur, and while Karam Singh historian did point out that the distinction between the Khalsa and a Sikh did not exist for the Gurus, and this is why many contemporaries at the time mentioned Khande ki Pohol, but not explicitly in the case of Baba Banda Singh Bahadur, as in Baba Banda Singh taking it. Parmanand misinterpreted that and misquoted him to say that Banda Singh Bahadur was never a Amritdhari. So, what was Baba Banda Singh Bahadur if he was not Amritdhari? Parmanand came up with the fact that he was a Sanatan Vedic Hindu, that Guru Gobind Singh Ji, after his Sahibjade were slain, was very down. The Sikhs had betrayed him. This is what the Punjabi Jats do all the time. And yeah, Guru Gobind Singh Ji had to go to Maharashtra to this great, mighty warrior guru called Veer Banda Bairagi, who for some reason never fought the Mughals before this period. So how he could be a mighty warrior is anyone's guess. But oh well, Hari Om. And then that Veer Banda Bairagi came to Punjab to actually establish this massive empire, which was going to go to the Brahmins, but the Sikhs betrayed him, and he got killed. And then now, what happened is that the Sikhs afterwards started betraying the Hindus and just building themselves up at the Hindus' expense. And now they're talking about restoring Sikh sovereignty again, the Sikh empire, which at the end of the day should rightfully belong to the Brahmins. So now, why are the Sikhs talking about building up this empire when it's built on treachery, on Hindu blood? So basically, he was instigating Sanatan Vedic Hindus against the Sikhs. This was his main mission in life. The reality, though, was that Karam Singh historian did take him to task. Bhai Khan Singh Nabha also took him to task. But unfortunately, when the SGPC came along, they started ignoring the academia aspect of Sikhi until it was too late. And this is when the Sanatan Vedic Hindu Parmanand myths actually started proliferating, that even the likes of Sanatan Vedic Hindu Jadunath Sarkar and Hariram Gupta started using them and mindlessly regurgitating them until the damage was done. So, this is why today there is this debate as to whether Banda Singh Bahadur was a Sanatan Vedic Hindu or not. And it can easily be traced to 1921, that until 1921, the Sanatan Vedic Hindus had the biggest hatred in their hearts for Baba Banda Singh. For what he did, he armed the lower castes against them by converting them to Sikhi. But after 1921, they actually started claiming him to be one of their own. So this was that aspect of history. It can be answered because at the end of the day, when Dr. Ganda Singh did ask Hariram Gupta to prove there was this guru in Maharashtra, Hariram Gupta had nothing more to say than make these remarks as in, oh, this will just help anti-national powers, etc., etc. But the reality is that he was caught out in his own lies. He was trapped in his own lies, in a web of deceit of his own making. So now we turn to the next question. What did actually happen to Baba Banda Singh? So, according to Dr. Ganda Singh, Baba Banda Singh and Binod Singh had a falling out over this whole issue of which tactics and strategies to use. That Binod Singh was saying to Baba Banda Singh, well, hey, you have fought in a very mobile fashion. So, why are you here in Gurdas Nangal trying to make a last stand? The issue with that interpretation that Dr. Ganda Singh made is that it doesn't hold up to facts. If we read the diary of Abdul Samad Khan, the Muslim fanatical zealot commander who did finally get Baba Banda Singh Bahadur, who finally captured him, his assistant records in a diary and other correspondences that they were receiving information from inside the Sikh camp as to Banda Singh's movements. This allowed them to start pinning Banda Singh until ultimately he was forced to run to Gurdas Nangal and inside the fortress where the Mughals could besiege him. Now, if you look at Baba Banda Singh Bahadur's military campaigns over a decade, you see that he's never pinned. Even when Bahadur Shah besieges him at Logar, Baba Banda Singh is actually able to disguise himself, climb the mountains, and get out. He's always got an escape route. Gurdas Nangal has no escape route. Now, according to Dr. Ganda Singh, at Gurdas Nangal, Baba Banda Singh was relying too much on Sikhs coming from the outside to catch the Mughals in the rear and rescue him. The reality is that the Mughals themselves are saying in their correspondences and the Akhbar-e Darbala Mullah that at the end of the day, they have actually cordoned off Punjab strategically. No Sikh can come and get them in the rear because they know where they are. They have either preemptively killed them or preemptively blocked them. To the point that Punjab is sealed off, the Satluj is sealed off, all the river traffic is stopped, and everything. So the dates on this correspondence are around the time when Baba Banda Singh is actually en route to Gurdas Nangal. So he knew straight away that this was happening. So for Dr. Ganda Singh to say this, he's just trying to explain away a very inconvenient fact. Now, Professor Manchanda also did realize this inconvenient fact, and this is the same fact that Bhai Ratan Singh Pangu is actually implying as well. So, what is this fact? Banda Singh Bahadur had the Sanatan Vedic Hindus gunning for him, he had the Muslims gunning for him, but there was a faction among the Sikhs who were also gunning for him. So, according to Bhai Ratan Singh Pangu, a year after Baba Banda Singh's Shahidi, Binod Singh dies. According to contemporary Mughal sources, for the next 30 years, Binod Singh, his son Khan Singh, and even others like Kesar Singh Shibbar, Ajit Singh Palit before his death, all of these individuals formed a coalition and they gathered at Darbar Sahib, and the Mughals awarded them the Darbar Sahib on the understanding that they would pay them tax, but they would be allowed to do whatever they wanted to do there, and any Sikh who they thought would eventually mutiny or rebel against the Mughals, like Banda Singh, they were to kill him straight away in Punjab. So this is quite an interesting take. Now, are these Mughal sources falsified? Well, then we have Sanatan Vedic Hindu sources, Rajput agents, even Maratha agents saying pretty much the same, that Banda Singh was betrayed from in between, and the activities of these individuals do actually lend credence to this fact that they were the ones who went ahead and betrayed Baba Banda Singh. So why did they betray him? This is a question that comes from time to time. So it seems to be a case here that when later British historians did ask Sikhs around Ranjit Singh's time, what do you think of Banda Singh, they recorded that some Sikhs do abuse him. So it seems to have been a case of different loyalties, but mostly this. One, Banda Singh was the generalismo of the Panth. He was on the same standard as Nawab Kapoor Singh after him, and then Jathedar Jassa Singh Aluwalia. So as generalismo of the Khalsa Panth, he had the sole supreme authority. So many of the individuals who did betray him were fatigued from the battle, and they felt that when Fruxir offered them a ceasefire, that the Sikhs become vessels of the Mughals, they had basically won the battle. But Baba Banda Singh knew that at the end of the day, the ceasefire meant the Sikhs could only hold on to the territories they had. So their territories extended from Sirhind to Jalandhar. They were still surrounded by Agra, Multan, Lahore, and Delhi. They would be sandwiched in between and destroyed from all four sides. They needed at least Lahore to be able to consider a ceasefire, but at the end of the day, they would never accept vassalage from the Mughals because the Khalsa is always sovereign, the Khalsa is always supreme. This would be tantamount to betraying Guru Gobind Singh Ji's vision of Raj Karega Khalsa. Obviously, there is an argument that Banda Singh should have taken vassalage and then later made his move. But even he knew at the end of the day that if he made these moves, there would be no chance of success because accepting vassalage meant the Mughals would also be able to infiltrate the Sikh camp more than they had done previously. Another reason is jealousy. Most of these individuals were envious of what had happened. They had a feeling in their mind that just because they happened to be descended from the Gurus or from the same caste and clan lineages as the Gurus, they should have been chosen for this role. The fact that Guru Gobind Singh Ji chose Baba Banda Singh shows how much merit Baba Banda Singh had, his lack of ego, and his humility. These other individuals never had that, and this started biting them. So all this bite-backing and envy finally resulted in them betraying Baba Banda Singh at Gurdas forcing him into Gurdas and finally his Shahidi. So This is one aspect of that story which has never been thoroughly discussed or explored before. Now, Gurtej Singh, in his translation of the Sheikh Gurpant Prakash, does say that Baba Banda Singh Bahadur seems to have been demoralized at Gurdas Nangal, that he surrendered. Many Nihangs do make out today, especially the Buddha Dal, Tarna Dal, false Nihangs, that he was not a Sikh for surrendering. But this is quite a rubbish take in light of Sikh history. You have had other, you know, incidents where Sikhs have surrendered. During the Chota Kalukara, bastions of Sikhs surrendered and decided to accept martyrdom. During the Vadda Kalukara as well, when they saw there was no point in fighting anymore. So then to blame Baba Banda Singh for this is pretty wrong. So, why does Pai Ratan Singh Pangu then fabricate and embellish the truth to claim that Mata Sundari actually excommunicated him from the Panth because he started claiming to be a guru? He started, getting people to worship him. He married a prostitute. He lost his senses, etc., etc. So, the reason, according to Dr. Balwant Singh, is that maybe there is this issue where there were differing familial loyalties. There is another theory that Ratan Singh Pangu's grandfather Pai Mehtab Singh and Pai Mehtab Singh's father, basically Pai Mehtab Singh's father, was part of the Binod Singh brigade, but then he realized the error of his ways when it was too late, and he was forced to leave the Punjab with Mehtab Singh for Rajasthan. Now, Pangu couldn't openly go against his own family, who derided Banda Singh, so he wrote this very conspicuous treatment of Banda Singh. So initially, if you read Volume 1, he's dismissing Banda Singh as a, turncoat. But then afterwards, he's saying Banda Singh again came back to Sikhi. He became Shaheed. And then in the second volume of the Panth Prakash, basically the Khalsa is in Punjab complaining in the jungles of Punjab, crying that we should not have betrayed Baba Banda Singh just by listening to rubbish, you know. And many of the allegations Pangu records, he does say underneath, this is what I have heard, this is what I've heard, this is what I've heard. So basically, he is actually distancing himself from the allegations he's repeating against Baba Banda Singh, but really he's trying to hide his own familial role in this. So the British records do show that Pai Ratan Singh Pangu did not die at the Battle of Sabroa. He was already dead before that, but that his son Gurmukh Singh, after the Anglo-Sikh Wars, joined the British during their Afghan expeditions. He was a native captain in one of their cavalry regiments, and he brought three other individuals to join that regiment as well as four horses. So there is that record as well, and you can see that the descendants of Pangu are definitely not Major General Shebeg Singh as Taksal makes out today. So there is that issue of Pangu's own family history that he's trying to conceal by shifting the attention of on Baba Banda Singh Bahadur. So that is one. Now, Gyani Gyan Singh has repeated those accusations verbatim, and other historians such as H.R. Gupta. But the reality is that Baba Banda Singh Bahadur never did anything like this. And this is where we see that in the Shamsher Khalsa, Gyani Gyan Singh seems to have realized the error of his ways. So Pangu says that Baba Banda Singh Bahadur got people worshipping him, and the Sikhs who worshipped him as Guru were the Bandai Khalsa, and then the others, the Binod Singh company, was the Tat Khalsa, who were upholding true Sikhi and Sikh supremacy. Gyani Gyan Singh, however, points out that this is not the truth, that the Lahore archives furnished him with this information, that the first time the Mughals recorded the names Tat Khalsa and Bandai Khalsa were when Zakaria Khan came to Punjab, Abdul Samad Khan's son. So almost 30 years after Baba Banda Singh, what seems to have happened is that the Sikhs were becoming resurgent again. The Mughals were scared of them. When Zakaria Khan seems to have come into power, this is actually prior to that 30 years, but in the lead up to that. So when Zakaria Khan has come into power, he sees that Bhai Mani Singh has held this massive Sarbat Khalsa at Darbar Sahib. The Sikhs have put aside their differences. They've realized that, Banda got betrayed the wrong way, and that they've decided to actually present a united front against the Mughals and start fighting again. So the second episode we did on Baba Banda Singh Bahadur 1724 basically shows that, based on Gyani Gyan Singh's researches, how Sikhs from outside Punjab, the non-Punjabi Sikhs came, the non-Punjabi Khalsa came to the Punjab, they infiltrated Punjab, and 3,000 of them united with the Punjabi Khalsa, and they unleashed havoc across the Punjab in 1724 by freeing criminal gangs and arming them. to join them and go pillaging and plundering all over Punjab, killing Sanatan Vedic Hindus who had betrayed Banda Singh and his men, as well as Muslims, and settling old scores, taking vengeance. So, in the aftermath, Zakaria realizes that Punjab is in a very, very sensitive situation. There is a lot of corruption. The Sikhs have a free hand as well. And he decides to call over all the Qataris of the Sanatan Vedic Hindu Qataris of Lahore and Punjab, and he instructs them that at the end of the day, if you can infiltrate the Sikhs as so-called Sahajtari Sikhs and not Amritari Khalsa, because Khalsa Amrit is only reserved for the select few who have some ability, well then you can actually enter them and infiltrate them as a majority and start saying that Banda Singh Bahadur was the 11th Guru. Call yourselves the Bandai Khalsa and others the Tat Khalsa and start making the shit show that they start fighting among themselves and become weak. So the term Bandai Khalsa, Gyani Gyan Singh points out before this, was actually used for those Singhs who were loyal to Baba Banda Singh over Binod Singh. Because Banda Singh Bahadur was dressed in red before being killed, the Bandai used to tie a strip of red around their dastars to distinguish themselves from Binod Singh's men. So this is actually what ended up happening, how Banda Singh Bahadur got betrayed. So to recap, was Banda Singh Bahadur a Sanatan Vedic Hindu? There is no evidence other than the fan fictions of Sanatan Vedic Hindu terrorist Parmanand. But on the other hand, what did happen to Baba Banda Singh Bahadur? He got betrayed by his own Sikh Khalsa lieutenants. That's what we have to say. They were not able to uphold the Khalsa spirit. Baba Banda Singh Bahadur was able to uphold the spirit. They got jealous and they decided to betray him. So how true was Parmanand's words? Well, end of the day, he took history, shifted it around, and presented it in such a way to argue that because the Sikhs did betray Banda Singh, well, then that meant Banda Singh was a Hindu, and the Hindus were always victims of Sikh treachery. So this is the sort of rubbish Sanatan Vedic Hindus come up with and believe. But the reality is very different. So Banda Singh Bahadur was definitely not a Sanatan Vedic Hindu. According to William Irvine and other historians, even Muslim historians, eyewitness historians, Banda Singh Bahadur was equally opposed to Sanatan Vedic Hindus as well as Muslims. He talked about Khalsa theocracy, Khalsa supremacy, Sikh supremacy, right? He had no qualms in destroying Sanatan Vedic Hindu and Muslim villages and, sovereign bloodlines and heritage, etc., as long as it meant that the Khalsa was winning. So he was the ultimate Khalsa ruler, the best template. And this was the template that Nawab Kapoor Singh and Jathedar Jassa Singh Aluwalia followed. So this was the history of Baba Banda Singh Bahadur, as according to Sikh and non-Sikh sources. But this is also the history of Baba Banda Singh Bahadur prior to it being politicized. Now, what solutions do we have here? Well, we keep shouting out our truth, we keep using historical researches, and the Sanatan Vedic Hindus will have to eventually shut up because we are going to start taking the war to their doors now, the intellectual war. So, the recent episode we did on McAuliffe, other than claiming that Bhai Gurdas's works are false, they had nothing more, and they had to run away. And they will equally run away here when these points are raised over and over again. So thank you for listening. Until next time, Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
सवैया दुत जिते इन्हीं के प्रसाद सुदान करे अक अवगटार इन्हीं के प्रसाद इन्हीं की कृपा पुण्य धाम भरे इन्हीं के प्रसाद सो विद्यालय इन्हीं की कृपा सब सत्य मरे नहीं की कृपा के सजे हम हैं नहीं पोसो गरीब